the Sunday night Freedom Racing Series. We are in for a very good show, I think, tonight. We are at Richmond Raceway. Got a lot of good cars here, a lot of good people. Honestly, we got a lot of good storylines to talk about as well. Had a very controversial race last week. A lot of people didn't like the end of that race, so we're gonna have to go take a look at that here and show y'all that in just a moment. If I can get this working correctly, we can be on our way here. Looks like we're not getting the right camera work, so let's try and get this fixed here. Alright, there we go. Alright, so let's go around with this starting lineup here. Take a look at that quick. Front row, we got Raceway on the pole, Jordan Berry to his outside in second place. Going to row number 2, Joseph Kazi, Jacob Shala. Going on to row number 3, Bryce Shoemaker, Aaron Cabe. Both have a really good starting position here, and I think Bryce Shoemaker is going to be a threat to look out for here later in this race tonight. Then we go on to Derek Garrison and Nick Wood in row number 4. Row number 5, Eric Garrison, Jim Foskett in that 47 car. And then in row number 6, Justin Day and Keith Shoemaker. And that's going to round out our field here. A pretty decent sized field. I think we're all going to have a really good time here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these stats. Look ahead at this race weather. It's currently 86 degrees, track temps 93. Partly cloudy for overcast, not too high of winds, humidity's down to 0%, and boy can I say, by living in this state that's had a really lot of hot heat here this past week, am I glad to see that. Wrong button. But let's see, let's go ahead and take a look here at what happened last week. This is the finish with Derek Garrison and Reese Schaefer. These two bumped and banged a little bit. Then going down into turn number 4, lap later, Derek gives the bump to Reese Schaefer there. Didn't wreck them both, kind of sent them in the wall. Reese not too happy. Then after that restart, we had Derek Garrison giving a little bit more bumper this time into Reese Schaefer, and that's kind of what ended that and allowed Derek Garrison here to go on and get the win. A lot of people weren't too happy with that move. Some people were. If you're a fan of Derek Garrison, you like that. At the end of that, he said he had to use the bumper to win the race. He was tired of finishing second. So we'll see what these drivers here are willing to do for a win. Green flag in the air. Reese Schaefer, Jordan Berry on that front row. Joseph Kazi able to take second place away here from Reese Schaefer, or from Jordan Berry there. Now challenging Reese Schaefer there for the top spot. Still side by side for these two drivers. Oh boy, we might have some issues here with the cameras. I'm gonna try and find a suitable camera here for the meantime, but I do believe they did change the track here, so some of these cameras are potentially not gonna work with that update. We'll stay on the camera here, then once we get a commercial, we'll get a different camera loaded up and try and get this stuff fixed. Alright, give me just a second, folks. I'm trying to get this camera set up, and then we will be back to giving you a broadcast here. Alrighty, should be set here. Once we go to commercial, we'll get these cameras fixed and for you, y'all watching out there. So far, Joseph Hazy with the race lead. He's kind of put a little bit of a distance between him and Reece Schaefer. Jordan Berry there sitting in third. Jacob Shala there in fourth place. Not doing too bad in his one of few starts. We're going to back behind him. That's Bryce Shoemaker in the 5 car. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at this race analysis real quick too. Stage is at the completion of lap 80. 175 laps, 125 miles. Fuel is estimated between 100 and 110 laps. So plenty of fuel for these guys. Should only have to pit once. You probably will want tires at least once, if not twice, depending on where these cautions fall out at. And there is some strategy that you could play into that. We go green, kind of eliminates a lot of that, but if we do get some cautions, a lot of these guys are probably going to want to try something to cycle through ahead to the lead. Alright, my ATVO crashed here, so give me a second to pop this back up, and then we will get those stats pulled back up. Alright, got that back up. Sorry about that, folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at position number 4 and 5 here. Got these guys, probably the closest group that we have right now on track. That's Jordan Berry, Bryce Shoemaker, and last week's winner, Derek Garrison, all under a blanket. Derek Garrison trying to put some pressure on Bryce Shoemaker, maybe force him into a mistake. You've seen what he's willing to do. He's willing to use the bumper a little bit. Going a little further back to Jim Foskett back here. Some of these guys, looks like that's Aaron K, Justin Day right ahead of them. Battling hard. Oh, a little bit of contact right there. Will he save it? The 37. Oh, and he just barely came down. Wasn't enough room to save that car, and that's going to collect Justin Day and Aaron K, as well as potentially some other drivers. Not quite sure which one of them actually had damage from that, but it did catch up some of these guys. So we're going to go to caution here. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what actually happens. Justin Day got a little hot in there, washed up into the 37 Aaron K, and just not enough room for the 37 to save that fully, and just collected a few other guys. Don't see any significant damage to any of those guys that were caught up in that. I do think they're going to want to save that fast repair. We do have one fast repair, so I don't think they'll want to use it here. Definitely a little bit of front end damage to that 37 car though, so we'll keep up and see if he's potentially willing to just take the time on pit road to fix it and potentially lose a lap, or if maybe he's going to take that fast repair early on. Alright, well, while we have the chance, I'm going to switch over to commercial here, and we're gonna get these cameras loaded in so that we can have some better viewing angles for you guys.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com. Sorted out now. Shouldn't have any issues. We saw it. We were able to get flag back under green flag racing here. Joseph Kazi now taking the lead. Safer directly behind.
Jacob Shawla there in third place, followed by Jordan Berry and Derek Garrison there in the 5th position. Jordan Berry all over the back bumper of this 25 car there on corner exit. He was able to get a really good center there and apply a little bit of pressure to the back bumper of 25. Probably got a little bit tight being behind him and lost a little bit of time there on that front stretch up into turn 1. Jordan Berry's a short track racer. He had his really probably his best finish of the season last week at Phoenix. And I think he's ready to build some momentum coming off that finish. And so far looking good here early on. He's been gone for a little while. He's had some things he's had to do in his personal life. So we fully welcome him back here. Really good track to come back to, I think. He's still looking for a win this season. And potentially lock himself into the playoff. He's currently sitting 3 points below the cut line, I believe, heading into this race. So he's not safe by any means, but if he can get a good finish here and potentially next week, then he's going to be set for this playoff. For the most part, they've been pretty even on times. Here, these guys have really been able to get away from each other this season so far. They've both been the class of the field. Both have had an incredible amount of wins so far. I think tonight's going to really come down to whichever one of these two is able to maintain the clean air. Clean air is going to be a really big thing here. And you might not think about it as short track, but it can be a really big difference, especially on that nose. Helps you turn a lot more. You don't really have to force your car into a lot of bad situations. But we know Reese will kind of stay behind you for a pretty decent amount of laps, then he'll come up behind you and take those spots away real quick. Pressing anyone too hard. We've got a few guys close to each other, but not really anything crazy enough to focus on. So we're just gonna kind of watch through the field, go through them one by one, and just have some fun a little bit. See which guys here have saved maybe a little bit for this longer run. Maybe make a charge towards the end of the state here. See which ones maybe have burned up their stuff a little bit more. Very able to capitalize on some of Jacob Shawlow's mistakes there. A little bit slower speed. He's going to get to the inside now. Shawlow there on that higher side, trying to pinch Jordan Berry down. Not let Jordan Berry get the throttle down as much. These guys racing with a lot of respect here, giving each other a pretty decent amount of room. Not really racing too hard, not leaning on one another. Jordan Berry kind of slipped up there, missed the entry just a bit. It's going to give the momentum back to the 25 car on that high side. Now Jordan Berry's going to slip up behind him. Derek Garrison here waiting right behind him, waiting for the opportunity to potentially pounce and get a 2-for-1. And then don't look too far back because there's the 54 Bryce Shoemaker right behind him. There got a little bit loose. That should allow Jordan Berry to gain a little bit more here on the entry, possibly. Jordan's been really good into 1 and 2. A little bit of a wall tap right there. Jordan's been really good getting into 1 and 2. 25's been better off in 4. So it's kind of a mixed trade between these two for corners. Sitting in line, trying to get around one another as quick and as best they can, but there's really not much you can do here, especially when these cars start using that higher side. There's really only so much you can do out of the bottom, especially the longer you go into these runs. It's not like you can plant the throttle down as much. You can see Jordan Berry sent it in there a little bit deeper, trying to get a good diamond. Good exit. He's not able to get just enough. Now you're going to wonder how much this is potentially hurting Jordan Berry. Could it be hurting his tires? Now Derek Garrison says he wants his chance here. Slipping up into the inside. Jordan Berry maybe a bit of contact right there. Now Jordan Berry's to the outside of the 25, see what he can do here. Maybe he can pitch the 25 off corner exit. Hit that yellow line, kind of washed up a little bit there in entry. Jordan Berry should be clear of the 25 here, and yes, he will. Now the 8 and the 54 are going to get potentially 3 wide here at the 25. 54 is going to lift out just a little bit, not really force that too much. The 8 car is trying to get some momentum going now. It's his turn to get around the 25. Trying to utilize that bottom best he can. 25 a little bit loose right there. Now Derek Garrison has to watch out for Bryce Shoemaker. Bryce Shoemaker's right here now that these guys have been racing so hard for so many laps. A little bit of contact right there. 8 and 25 men right in the middle there. 54 with a little wall tap, trying to get that higher side to work. Not too well for him off exit there. Got a little bit high, maybe into some of those marbles. Got his car a little bit tight, washed up. The 8 should be able to slide up. He's not going to do that though, so he's going to continue to try and plug away in this bottom lane. Still side by side here, going to turn 1. Jordan Berry now potentially slipping up a little bit right in front of them. That's going to bring this race back to these 4 guys right here. Car still not clear enough, not able to slide up in front of the 25. Now he's going to go to work on Jordan Berry. Doing his very best to try and get around these guys as quick as he can. Slides up a little bit. Using all the track that he can. Washed up a little bit more there. That might be a little bit of impatience and a little bit of a bump there from the 25 because of that. Like these guys have sorted out for the time being. Bryce Shoemaker able to get around the 25. The 8 still trying to put in work to get around the 10 car here. Hasn't really been able to make it happen quite yet. Well, these guys figure it out for the time being. Let's go back on front to Joseph Kazi. He's now got over a second lead over Reese Schaefer here. And we're just at, well, I guess just technically under 20 laps to go until the end of this first stage. Kazi's looking good right now. See if maybe Reese Schaefer has been saving a little bit. Maybe see if he's able to make anything happen here. Probably will see some lap cars come up here shortly. I'm sure Reese Schaefer wants redemption for last week after that controversial finish. He still finished position 4, but it wasn't the win. And so far he's making a bold statement. Led a few laps. He's been able to challenge Joseph Kazi. And he's continuing to run up front. Hasn't really let anything get to his head after last week, which is good. I think that's one of those drivers that he's definitely a veteran in this league, and he knows how to move on and put stuff in the rear mirror here. At least for the time being. Not saying there might not be any contact or anything, any retaliation in the time being, but for at least right now, it seems like he's all straight, set, and forward. Now these guys back behind him have kind of started to race again. That's Bryce Shoemaker to the outside of the 8 car of Derek Garrison, working that higher lane. Bryce Shoemaker did a really good job at making quick time with the 8 car right there. Now he's going to dive down to the inside of the 10 car, trying to get position number 3 away from Torn Barry there in the 10 car. A little bit loose right there. Still able to keep momentum going. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact right there. Now the 8 car, because of that little bit of a slide, the 8 car has now gotten back to its outside, so that opens the door back up to the 8 car. 54 is going to have to slot in line right behind them. Now the 8 car is going to try and work his way on this bottom side again, trying to get around the 10 car. 10 car hasn't really been a roadblock, but he hasn't really been able to pull away from these guys. It's kind of been a back and forth between Bryce and Derek, trying to see who can pass him and who can't, who capitalizes on the other one. Now it looks like Bryce Shoemaker is able to capitalize on the 8 car this time. Definitely able to get to the outside. Have Garrison there in the 8 machine. Trying to work this higher line, maybe potentially get something going for the 10 car. A good run off of turn 4 there for the 54 car. He's able to close that gap between the 10 and the 54's bumper. 8 car still holding strong on that inside lane, just not able to get anything going. 10 car is going to slide a little bit, so that's going to hurt his momentum here on this long front straightaway, and that's going to allow both these guys to close back up again. 8 thought about sliding up, but he was not there. These guys are fighting for their stage point super hard right now. Every point matters. You never know when you're going to need these extra points. If we're Derek Harrison, he may be a little bit more eager to try and gain some extra points right now. He had a penalty, 15-point penalty after last week for some cautions, and you saw right there, gave a little bit of a bumper to the 10's back right there. Trying to let him know that he's here and he's faster than him. The 10 car actually did a really good job at holding on to that and still kind of pulled away from the 8 car. See if the 8 car is close enough to maybe make something happen again this time. Not quite washed up. Trying to make that diamond on the high side work. I was going to dive it to the inside here. Still not enough momentum being barely on the inside lane. That's going to let the 54 potentially get to the outside again. It looks like the 54s maybe lost a little bit of ground to these two. that your stage winners, Joseph Kazi. Remember, we don't get a caution here at these stages. So now Joseph Kazi is going to be our stage 1 winner. He's going to get 10 points, then 1 playoff point as well. That's a slow car, number 47 of Jim Foskett there that he's working around right now. Reese Schaefer back behind him hasn't been able to really close up anything. Still about 1.5 seconds. Last time we checked in, it was about 1.3 seconds. So far, both maintaining their gaps respectfully. And then we've got that little jumble of the best right behind him with Derek Garrison, Jordan Berry, and Bryce Shoemaker. Let's go ahead and take a look at these last lap times. So our top 2 are in the 23.3s. And then we go back to these guys in 3rd and 4th. Those guys are running about 23, say average of probably about 6.5. So a little bit slower. And that's kind of noticeable with the way that they've been racing. They've lost quite a bit of time. They're 10 seconds back from these top 2. Again, that's nothing really bad. They're having their race inside the race, and you never know. This race is still very long. We still have just under 100 laps to go. And anything can happen here, so it's not over. You're not out of it. We saw it last week. Caution there at the end within 20 laps, reset the field, got a few cautions, and chaos broke out. So a lot of things can still happen. Going back here, Jordan Berry still holding strong here in this 3rd position. Right, Shoemaker sends it in a little bit deep there. He's going to wash up, maybe make a little bit of contact here with this 10 car. Gives him plenty of space on this straightaway, and he's going to lose some time there to the 8 car again. So moves the 8 car back into position number 4. Sure, both these guys are trying to figure out what they actually have to do to get around this 10 car. He's been holding strong, though, 3rd place so far. Jordan Berry now washing up to the high side. Potentially, maybe not trying to allow Derek Garrison to use the bumper again. He's used it once pretty good. Tried to get him the 2nd time, not too well the 2nd time though. Didn't really move him that far out. That 10 car's way up on that high side. I don't think he touched it there, but it's awfully close there. In 3 and 4, not just some of the lanes that you can use. Maybe not so much in 1 and 2. I don't think I'd use it that high in 1 and 2. And as I say that, the 54 goes pretty far up there. But 3 and 4, you can get a pretty decent drive off as long as you hit your line correctly and don't hit that outside wall. That's really going to be the factor into the corner here, is not hitting the outside wall. And actually a little bit of a slip up there from the 10 car. So now Derek Garrison, the 8. Finally able to get around Jordan Berry there for 3rd place. I'm sure he's probably relieved to be able to have that position. They've been battling for probably the last 30, 40 laps. Now Bryce Shoemaker wants his chance at getting around the 10 car here. I think the 10 car just used up too much of those Goodyear tires. Slipping quite a lot. You saw it right there. He had a big slip up right there, and another big slip off of exit right there. Potentially, now that they are around Jordan Berry, maybe if they're able to make up a little bit of speed and time on the top 2 cars, but it's a pretty tall task to do right now. 13 seconds behind them. Granbury right now is really struggling to hold on to that car. He's been sideways in almost every corner. I think he's just got a whole lot of heat in those tires right now, and maybe a little bit of debris from that high side, the marbles on them. Really see him work that wheel right there. Trying more with him here. See it right there in the cockpit view. Those two in front of him that he was just battling a few laps ago have pulled away for a pretty significant amount. And we rode on board with him there just to kind of see what he was dealing with. You can see him try and get that car turned, but then the minute he tried to get on the throttle, it would just step out. That rear end was not secure, so I'm sure he's going to want to try and get some tires on that thing shortly. We should be coming up on our fuel window here. We did have that caution earlier on at lap 20, I believe it was. So I do believe probably most of the field there did top off. So that should move our fuel window back. And I'd expect some of these guys to start pitting around probably 150. Probably around there. You might see some guys pit a little bit sooner, as we have Aaron K actually on pit road right now, coming to make his service stop. So he's going to take this to lap 100 and call it good, get 4 fresh tires, some fuel, then he'll be on his way here. He's hitting a few other drivers. I think Eric Garrison there in the 5 car actually came down pit road. I believe Justin Day pitted. We can take a look at this here and see when they actually did pit. So yeah, it looks like Eric Garrison and Aaron K are the 2 guys, and as well as Nick Wood. Those guys are the guys who have pitted so far in this cycle of green flag pit stops. 37 car will come back out and slot himself right in front of Nick Wood. Currently sitting 3 laps down in the number 11 position. Now Bryce Racer here has been able to take over 3rd position from Derek Garrison. And you wonder if maybe Derek Garrison used up those tires too, just like the tank car, with potentially trying to make those moves, used up the right sides. Although he doesn't look to be slipping as bad as the tank car did, you can definitely tell with the speed and pace that he's going that he has lost some tire. Foskett is now on pit road. He's going to get into his box here, make those adjustments that he needs driver-wise. Remember, we are in a fixed setup, so there's nothing you can change in the car except for potentially brake bias and just driver mentality. Maybe give you a break, reset your mind. He'll be off and away here. Excuse that. Now we got Derek Garrison hitting pit road. Nice and easy into this box. He's going to get 4 tires of fuel as well. Then we're going back behind him, Bryce Shoemaker. He's going to not waste another lap. As soon as he saw Derek pit, he's going to follow suit with that. we got some other cars like Jacob Chala there in the 25. Derek Garrison off and away. Bryce Shoemaker now coming in for service. See if maybe Bryce Shoemaker can hold off Derek Garrison here off pit road. I don't think that Derek Garrison will have enough time to cycle in front because Bryce Shoemaker did make that call lap after. And as I say that, here comes Derek Garrison. There's Bryce Shoemaker. So Derek Garrison was able to get off in front of Bryce Shoemaker there. Now that's Reese Schaefer and Joseph Causey still have yet to pit. They are the only two that have not pitted so far. You can see kind of this tire difference between the new tires and the old tires. Working their way around these leaders pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and take a look at these lap differences. So the leaders ran at 23.4. I guess not technically leader. And then Justin Day as well. He has yet to pit, I think. Actually, I just said that. So he has pitted. Actually, the first guy that we're going to be looking at is Derek Garrison and Bryce Shoemaker. Those guys are 22.1. Almost 2 seconds quicker. Or 1 second quicker. Excuse me. 1 second quicker than the leaders. And that's a lot of time that I don't think Causey and Schaefer are really too upset about with losing. They had over a 12-second gap before these guys pitted, so I don't think they're really concerned. I think they're just really going to be playing the cards against each other. I think once one comes down, the other is going to follow. Reese has been able to close that gap down just a little bit, now under 1 second. Still has been Causey for the most part tonight, though. Reese has actually found some speed here in the last few laps. He's closed in another 10. I'm not sure if he'll be able to close that gap anymore before these two pit. Guess it depends on how far these two are able to stretch it. I'd assume probably in the next 10 laps or so these guys will be on pit road. Car now going around the 3 of Joseph Causey there. He's going to get one of his laps back. Justin Day now hitting pit road. So I was completely wrong earlier. I guess he was kind of pit road, but now he is making his pit road stop here in this 24 car. And now Reese Schaefer right behind him. He's going to work his way down pit road. He said enough. And now he's going to look to come down pit road here, get his 4 tires and fuel. See what Joseph Causey does, see if maybe he hits pit road, and it looks like he will. So, like I said, once these two, or at least once one of these guys hits pit road, the other one's likely going to follow, and that's just kind of trying to stay on top of the game, not really want to allow the other guys to use his new set of tires too quickly and get that track position over one another. Although we did see the difference between Derek Garrison and Bryce Shoemaker earlier, we'll have to see what Reese is able to do on this outlap here. If he's able to make up any time on Joseph Causey. not able to make it out in front of Joseph Cosby. Joseph Cosby here in turns 3 and 4 coming to the start-finish line. Reese Schaefer back behind. Actually, Reese Schaefer's on pit road again. Did he get a black flag? He potentially got a black flag. Let's go ahead and see if maybe he did or not. And it looks like Reese Schaefer did speed on pit road there. Schaefer had to make that drive through pit road, that very long, slow pit road. Now he's going to be a lap down here. That's going to move Bryce Shoemaker here in the 2nd place. Then Derek Garrison in the 8th car in the 3rd place. So a big shift up here at the lead after Reese Schaefer had some issues on pit road. Had to come back down pit road to serve that black flag. So easy to do here at this track. There's not a lot of really space to give up on pit road. You're just over a bit. It's really sensitive here. It looks like he just was a little bit too quick, and iRacing caught him on that. Now, let's go back and see if he... I don't know if we'll actually be able to catch him and see what he did. Let's see, maybe we can get into his cockpit right here. That's the wrong driver there. It looked like he got down to pit road speed pretty easily. I'm not sure if this is the correct lap, if this is a pit lap or not. I believe it is. So it doesn't really look like he's made that big of a time. It probably was off the exit here. It's his first box. He might have given it just a little bit too much gas and just been a mile or two and over, and let's see what happens here. Got a pretty good launch off. I'm gonna assume that it's off the exit, but we'll catch up and see if maybe that is actually the case. Joseph Kazi currently the race leader though. 5-second lead over Bryce Shoemaker there, so he did give a little bit of time to these guys behind him, staying out those extra laps, but still has a pretty comfortable lead, and unless we get a caution, I don't really see there being any issue for Joseph Kazi and the win tonight. Schaefer here behind him, trying to get his lap back. He's sitting in 5th position, which isn't too bad after that round of his pit stops, but he lost quite a bit of track position. I mean, he sped, he went a lap down, he was sitting in 2nd place, and now it looks like he needs a caution to get back into this thing if he wants a shot at winning. I know Reese won't do anything like that. He won't attempt to bring out caution, but if you are the 17 or if you're a 17 fan, you probably want to hope and pray that someone else here on track, one of these other drivers, has an issue and bring out the caution. All right, we're going to step away again and we'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Southern Night Racing League. We're at Richmond Raceway. We're 175 laps. We're 141 laps into it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our race count so far. We've got 35 laps to go, one caution for 4 laps, and we've only had one lead change so far, so not really anything crazy caution-wise. Again, I don't want to jinx it because I did jinx himself last week, so still plenty of laps to go here. 34 a long time here at a short track, still plenty of things that could happen. Don't want to get anybody's hopes up low. Looking at this though, so far it's been a Joseph Kazi show. Reese Schaefer, if you're just joining us, had some issues on pit road that sent him to the I would say back, but it did force him to do a driving penalty. Now he's currently sitting 1 lap down after serving that penalty, trying to get his lap back here right behind Joseph Kazi. And then we've had an intense battle this whole night between Derek Garrison, Jordan Berry, and Bryce Shoemaker here. Bryce Shoemaker currently holds on to this 2nd position. Then we go back to Derek Garrison and Jacob Shala. Go ahead and see if this will work. Bryce Shoemaker, 25 years old. Some top 5s here. One win. That win came back at Chicagoland. And he's been building off momentum ever since then. A few more top 5s, top 10s. Hasn't really gotten too far behind of these guys like Joseph Cosby, Derek Harrison, and Reed Schaefer. I'd say he's probably currently right now the 4th or 5th guy in line. And he's been looking pretty good, running second, holding his own so far tonight. He's been really patient, and that's been something that, talking to him, he's needed to work on. He's been needing to save tire and just do a little bit better in the long run, and so far he's doing just that. We go on to Derek Garrison here in 3rd position. He got that win, that 2nd win of the season last week at Legacy Phoenix. So far he's looking pretty good. Unfortunately, this isn't updated. I guess I didn't update it correctly. So he's sitting at 2 wins, Retribution top 5, and then 10 top 10. So overall, really good season so far, building off that momentum. Reed Schaefer now in 4th place. After getting around Jacob Shala there. And I'm back here to Justin Day in 6th position right now. Has yet to get this first win of the season. This is his first race back in a while, so again, welcome back, Justin Day. Glad to have you joining back. Rooting for you as always, and hopefully we can get this first win sometime soon before the playoffs start. Gordon Berry now sitting in 7th position there after those rounds of pit stop. It looked like it's really helped him out. I don't know if he had any issue on pit road. I'd assume he did of some sort, considering he's a lap down and was up there with Bryce Shoemaker and Derek Garrison. But still, overall, not bad. 7th position. I'm sure this is where he finishes. He's not going to be too happy with himself, as he has a really big slide right there. That's been what he's been dealing with this whole night, is just this rear end on his car has been stepping out a lot. He hasn't been able to get that controlled. I think that's been his Achilles heel all night tonight. He's lost a lot of time, lost his position, and see if maybe he can fix that in these next 20 laps. Look at these last 3 top lap, or these top 3 last lap times from last lap. So Joseph Kazi is currently sitting with the fastest lap out of these top 3. But Derek Garrison is right behind him. Then you have Bryce Shoemaker there, 2nd place, currently the 3rd fastest of these top 3. I think Derek Garrison will be able to chase down Bryce Shoemaker. I'm not quite sure if he'll be able to pass him, but he should be able to catch him. Just under 15 laps to go here. Current race leader Joseph Kazi, followed by Bryce Shoemaker and Derek Garrison. Those three are the only three on the lead lap right now. Kazi's been setting the pace all night. I'm not quite sure if anybody will have anything for him. I think everybody's too far back at this point to make anything happen. You have some slow cars up ahead of Joseph Kazi. That's, I believe that's the 40, no, that's the 88 and the 10 car. So that's Keith Shoemaker and Jordan Berry up ahead of him. Keith Shoemaker there in the wall just a little bit, trying to give as much room to Joseph Kazi as he can. Once he gets clear of the 10 car of Thornberry, he should have a clear track ahead of him. Nothing really to worry about after that. Just under 10 laps to go here for Joseph Kazi. Got a battle kind of heating up here between Bryce Shoemaker and Derek Garrison here for second position. See if Bryce Shoemaker can hold off for the next handful of laps, or maybe Derek Garrison will be able to take away second place from him. These two cars running very different lines. We've been seeing this out of these two all night. Bryce Shoemaker has been on this higher side, while Derek Garrison has been on this lower side. Both these guys giving plenty of room to one another. Now the 54 is going to fall in line in front of the 8-car trying. Give the dirty air to the 8-car, but now the 8-car is going to ping down to the inside lane. Side by side coming off of turn number 4. 4 laps, just under 4 laps to go now. Still racing hard for second position. I'm not quite sure who's actually going to have the advantage here. It's been kind of a cat and mouse game between these two all night. It's not going to matter though, because this time by is going to be a white flag for Joseph Kazi. After a dominating performance, all he has to do is just make a few more set of corners and he'll be set home free. And coming up to turn number 4, Joseph Kazi is going to be your race winner. And out of these two, let's see who can get across the line in second place. That's Bryce Shoemaker right now with the advantage. Derek Garrison's going to send it in. Just a little bit, wash up, a little bit of contact, and that's going to send them both around. And that's going to let Bryce Shoemaker there get the second place over Derek Garrison. Crazy finish right there for second place. Just a little bit of a slide up from those guys, and around they both went. But Joseph Kazi is our race winner. And he burned it down, and he actually blew the engine out of that thing. So congrats to Joseph Kazi on the win. Let's try and get a word with him here quick. While we wait for some of these guys to get into the booth and get a chance to speak with them. Dominating performance by Joseph Kazi here. Let's see if we can get a chance to talk with him here. Still waiting on Joseph Kazi to get all situated and get out of his car. All right, let's drag him up here, folks. All right, Joseph Kazi, you got me. Joseph Kazi, you got me?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, congrats on the win. That was a dominating performance out of you. Again, issues on pit road for Reese. I'm sure that kind of felt good for you to not have to deal with that pressure. It didn't really look like, though, he had much for you early on. Just tell me about how you're able to maintain and pull such a gap over the field.
Man, I've got so many laps of track, so much practice. Even the old scan still feels like, or what you call it, the new scan feels like the old scan. The way the car drives here, and it just, I'm dialed in at this place. I had Reese driving better, halfway through the run. He started catching me before we made that pit stop, and he had finally figured out what I was trying to say with the brakes and all that, trying to use the brakes to make the car rotate and then hold it. And man, I'm just very solid here and usually make it work.
Yeah, and you talk about using brakes. This is a very brake reliable track, and if you hit your marks correctly, it's good for you as a driver. You can definitely pull away, and if you miss it, it can be costing up to like a few tens. And that is something I want to ask. They did rescan this a few weeks ago, and you said it didn't feel like it was any different. Is there anything like different about this place besides just the looks, do you think, or is it for the most part just kind of same old, same old?
Man, it almost feels like the same old, same old. Except for the bump maybe going to the tunnel that they put into one. that new bump that they have right there. Other than that, man, it really just feels the same old Richmond to me. It feel at least. I started with like maybe it is wearing out. Tires just a little touch more. I would think maybe, but other than that, um, I was really consistent with my times. Reese did better job on his rear tires. That's why he started catching me near the end of the run before we pitted. And what Reese had trouble with, which was a big hamper, a lot of people, I don't know how many people did call out, but it did catch out Reese, was the blue line coming out of the exit going out to the backstretch. Reese crossed over that line, so that's what got him the penalty.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. It didn't look. I looked at his onboard. We looked at his onboard here, and it didn't look like he was really speeding. But I know at certain tracks that line can be really sensitive, and they are not too forgiving on that.
No, he like I said, he crossed right over it. It was hard to see. The sun is beaming down that backstretch. It's hard to see. I'm glad I didn't step over the line. He ended up stepping over because I thought that was my competition right there. I was like, as soon as I seen him go through the pits again, I was like, "What, Reese? Where you go?" And then he wasn't there. I let him have the lap back. We were trying to catch. I was trying to lap the whole field, basically. But we didn't. We needed like 20 more laps for that. But it was getting close.
Yeah, that it was very close to lapping the whole field, and I'm sure you wanted another 20 laps. It looked like you were pretty much having fun out there, but I'll go ahead and I'll let you go celebrate. I don't want to take too much of your time away, but thanks for speaking with us there, Kazi.
Appreciate it, Oscar, and thank you for the stream, and thank you for streaming this, and thanks for the league. Thank for everybody who came and participated. Wish we could get some more of these people. Some people need to come out, man, and come out and race with us. Pretty good league. We did, I don't know how many laps. Well, we only had 2 cautions. Chewy. I'm wore out.
I believe it was actually 1 caution, but yeah, definitely overall still very minimum for cautions. Congrats on the win again, Joseph Kazi, and hopefully we can speak to you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alright, that was your race winner of Joseph Kazi there. That's win number 5, I believe, on the season for him. Let's go ahead and get our other finishers up in here. Let's get Bryce Shoemaker. Nope, I'm going to interrupt your conversation there, Bryce. Sorry about that, bud.
Nope, all good.
Well, you had a little. Well, it was looking good, and then a little bit of contact there at the at the start and finish line. I think you were able to get around and hold on to second place there. Overall, though, a really good night for you. Just what more did you need to be able to get around and maybe make up some time on Kazi and Reese there tonight?
Honestly, I should have just been more aggressive and just gave the bumper to Jordan. That battle for like what seemed like forever, at least 20, 30 laps straight. Me and Derek were held up, so battle was fun. It got me sweating for sure, but I noticed after we both got around him, me and Derek were running about a tenth and a half faster a lap than Joseph, so it was just what could have been, but we were already 14 seconds behind by the time we got around Jordan, so it was just a one-on-one between me and Derek, basically, for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I will say, I agree with you on that 100%. That 10 car was definitely hard to pass tonight, and we did look at the times, and you guys were definitely way quicker once you were able to get around him. It just looked like passing was so difficult to do, and if you were going to do it, you kind of had to get on the outside of somebody or use the bumper, which I think we did see the 8 car use at least once. Didn't quite work out, but a very long race. I think we just had 1 caution. So I think overall, from a fan standpoint, it was pretty good. Had a lot of clean and green racing. You've carried this momentum the past few weeks. What are your thoughts on next week?
Yeah, definitely carry momentum, and I'm going to arguably my best mile and a half. So I'm actually really excited for next week. I don't. What do we have? One or two regular season races left after tonight too. So yeah, we're gonna hope to perform at Vegas. Maybe pick up a couple more playoff points before the playoffs start. But definitely carrying a lot of momentum and just having a lot of fun right now.
Well, hopefully we can see you back here next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Hopefully another top three. You look to carry this on into the playoffs. Maybe get another win next week. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and I'm gonna let you go unless you got anything else you'd like to add.
No, just want to say thank you to all the drivers showing up, making this possible. Thank you to you for putting on an amazing broadcast as it gets better and better each week you do it. So just thank you to those guys. Thank you to you. Thank you to the admin team. Obviously, we had that controversial finish last week, so it was definitely nice having all of them to bounce ideas back and forth and get everything cleaned up and then put on this great clean race.
Yes, indeed, I can agree with that. That is for sure. Sometimes we do need some controversial finishes, though. So every once in a while, that's always a good thing to have happen. Uh, but yeah, thank you for joining us, Bryce, and I'll speak to you in a little bit.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we're gonna get Derek in here. Finished third here. Derek, are you there? You got a copy there, buddy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I do.
All right. So a little bit of contact there at the end at the stripe, uh, but you were able to still finish third. Overall, I think it was a pretty good night for you guys. We heard from Bryce. He said it was really hard to pass the 10 car there during the race, and that it may have cost you all a lot, or maybe not a lot, but a decent amount of time to the leaders of Joseph Kazi and Reese Schaefer. What all did you, as a driver, need to do better tonight?
We definitely needed more cautions. I think if we had a couple more cautions, I think me and Bryce could have contended for the win. But overall, dude, I had a lot of fun racing with Jordan there and Bryce. That was pretty much the highlight of the night. And I stayed out of trouble. I didn't bump nobody, so that was a plus. But yeah, a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with these 750 horsepower packages and the short tracks.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a lot of slipping and sliding tonight. Didn't really see it too much out of you. I guess, like, how do you think the track felt for you as a driver?
It definitely felt a lot different than the previous track after they updated it for some reason. It's just really tight. You can't really do anything going into the corner. When you come out, your wheel's spinning off the corner. But it's just something I mean, just got to get used to, I guess. But just got to treat the car like you got an egg underneath the gas paddle, and just try not to spin the tires.
That indeed, and you seem to do a pretty good job with that tonight. I think you are probably one of the drivers that probably had the least amount of slips and slides whenever we were watching you. Now, next week is a completely different track than this, Las Vegas. Pretty much probably going to be wide open for the most part and have to deal with a lot more dirty air. What do you think going into next week is the goal for you?
Yes, try to stay towards the front, and Vegas used to be one of my favorite tracks. I ain't raced there in a while, but yeah, I think they updated that track as well. I don't know. We ain't really raced a lot of mile and a half tracks this year, so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting back at it.
Alrighty, Derek. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for talking with us. You got anything else you'd like to add before I let you go, though?
Yeah, I got to thank you, Oscar, for taking time on Sunday nights for broadcasting for us. Still miss you on the track. Thanks to Bryce, Nick, and all the other admins that puts on a great show every week. I think that's about it, man.
Alrighty, well, congrats on the top 3 again. Hopefully we can speak to you again next week and potentially see you in Victory Lane. Have a good rest of your evening, Derek.
You too, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right, well, that was our top 3 interviewed. Again, pretty set forward race tonight. 1 caution, and Joseph Kazi led the most laps. Go ahead and take a look at the results here. So again, Joseph Kazi here with the race win. Pretty large gap to second place. Bryce Shoemaker and Derek Garrison. Ray Schaefer was able to get around Joseph Kazi there and finish on the lead lap. Then everybody else from there on down is either a lap down or multiple laps. Jacob Schalla there, Justin Day, Jordan Berry, Keith Shoemaker, Jim Foskett there in the ninth position. Aaron Kay finishing out the top 10. And then we go here to Eric Garrison and Nick Wood, and that's going to round out our field tonight. So, again, not the biggest field, but we were able to put on some pretty good racing. And I think with that, that's pretty much all I got to add. I do know we did have some issues tonight. Not as much. Bryce did mention it. I am trying to get more and more added here as the weeks go on. I'm trying to figure out stuff. So again, apologize if there's any audio issues or if there's any delays of any sort or if we crashed at all for any point at all. Going into next week, like I said, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Then we have the Triple Cup Challenge, and that's going to be an interesting race. That is 3 races in one night, and you guys are going to want to tune in for that one. Again, like always, I thank you all for tuning in, whether that's live or after the race at a later date. And hopefully you guys are able to join us next week at the same time, and we'll be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Let's look at one quick thing though. Our fastest lap of the race was Joseph Kazi, so he's going to get an extra point for that. So I did lie. We did have one more thing to look at, but now that we've looked at that, we're going to go ahead, tune off of here, and we will see you guys hopefully next week. Have a good rest of your evening, night, day, whatever it is for you, and we'll see y'all later.